Getting to 6 figures in your jewelry business is actually simpler than we make it out to be. So many people overcomplicate things by trying to make it feel like a super complex thing with all these different moving parts and so many things to consider, where actually all you need to be doing is focusing on one product, one avatar, and one channel. So I'm not the only person who talks about this. Alex Hormozi goes on and on about it as well. And he says that if you focus on that to make your first 100K.
6 figures is sell something to someone. That's it. And if you want more detail, sell something to someone. So it's one avatar, one product, one channel. So you don't have to figure out, how do I create 20 pieces of content across? It's like, just pick one channel, one media source, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, Twitter. Consistently start going on that, whether that's cold outbound, whether that's content, whether it's running paid ads, whether it's affiliates, word of mouth.
Then you move on to the next thing. So I wanted to discuss this in terms of running a jewelry business and how this actually makes so much sense and how I've seen so many people doing it completely wrong. So let's dive into it. So first of all, one product. So what I mean by that is not one necklace or one ring, but one collection of work. So a style of jewelry, an aesthetic of jewelry. And I see a lot of people as well trying to please so many different people by making like beaded jewelry, wire jewelry, ceramic jewelry, silver, gold, all kinds of things, and wanting to diversify, thinking that that is the answer. But that is literally the opposite of what you need to be doing. So the more you simplify and hone in on one collection, doesn't mean collection as in like you need to sell collections. If you do one-off pieces, that's totally fine. If it's under one aesthetic, basically. So that's kind of what I mean. Because I see a lot of people doing like what I call garage sale collections of work. And this really doesn't work. And on top of that, not only garage sale kind of collections of jewelry, I see a lot of people and even get a lot of DMs and a lot of emails of people saying, I sell my photography and I sell my macrame and I sell my jewelry. I'm struggling with a name. And they focus in on the name being the problem. Whereas actually, this is literally why I'm doing this video, is because I got an email the other day of someone asking about the name, that it should be to kind of like encompass the brand. Whereas the actual problem is too many options. And another person, actually, and one of the students in my Consistent Sales Academy, also literally just said the other day that she's always tried to sell all of her different things that she makes. So I think she was doing like prints and like all kinds of other knickknacks, like all kinds of other creative products, and had those on her stands at the market. And then she decided to actually take my advice and just display her jewelry, and she 3 times what she usually made just by simplifying it. And the reason why this is so important to simplify that is because then your customer can identify that the product is for them. When you have too many options, it's kind of like vanilla for everybody and not like wow. You want to have that wow factor, which is why identifying your target audience, which is the next one, is super important. So moving on to one avatar. Point number 2. So avatar being target audience for us jewelers. So why you need to have one avatar is exactly the same reason why you need to have one product, because that customer can identify themselves with your brand, which is why branding is so important, because you create your brand around what that target audience, that avatar likes. And yes, that is also what you like. So you need to have a bridge between what you like and what your customer likes. Because if you're just making what you like and you like multiple different things, you're not clear. Like, it's not clear who it's for. So that's where people make jewelry and they go, I like this. They put it out there and they're like, I hope someone will like it. And the more they diversify, the more they think they're going to get their audience. But that is the opposite. So when you pick your target audience first and then understand them and what they like and what the values that you share with your target audience is, because you're not going to pick unless you're just super business focused. As a creative person, you're going to want to create things that you like, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you need to pick a target audience that aligns with some things that you like as well. So say, for example, you love creating super intricate pieces with lots of floral details because you like that. You're going to identify with the target audience who likes that too, and then you create your brand around that whole aesthetic. But you may also love cats. You may also love the ocean. You may also love super minimalist pieces. You got to pick an aesthetic that aligns with that target audience, that resonates with that thing. And this is so, so important, because if you don't do that, everything else you build on top of that will not work. And that then brings me to point number 3, which is one channel. So one channel is the place where you find that target audience to sell them that one product. So when I mean channel, I mean this could be Instagram, it could be TikTok, it could be markets, it could be wholesale with shops, it could be consignment with shops, it could be pop-up events you do, it could be anywhere, it could be Pinterest. So many, it could be Etsy. So many people decide to dip their toe in all of these different places. So they're selling on Etsy, they're selling on their own website, they're selling on Instagram, they're selling at markets, they're doing wholesale in shops, they're doing all these different things, and nothing's working well. They aren't making sales. And trust me, this was me as well. I thought that the place was wrong. But also, I didn't know my target audience, and also I hadn't simplified my product enough for one target audience. So you kind of got to work backwards. If you want the sales, where are those people that you've identified that will like your product? Where are they? For some people, it's Facebook actually, and not TikTok and not Instagram. But what people do wrong is that they go, right, I got it on Instagram, I got it on TikTok, I got it on Pinterest, I got it everywhere, and hoping that it's the platform that's going to actually make them sales. Whereas what you actually need to be doing is to pick one channel. What I recommend when you're starting out is to start with Instagram, because it is super amazing in terms of accessing a wide audience internationally, and you don't need to have a lot of stock, because if you're going to do markets, you need to have enough to fill a table, right? So you need to make enough. Also, it's very scary going and standing in front of a whole bunch of people with all of your stuff and you're not sure if people like it. So Instagram is a nice safe way to start right in the beginning when you're starting. So you can share the behind the scenes of, I'm starting a brand. You don't need to come out on day one with this like perfect brand with everything absolutely perfect. You can test what products people like the most. You can test what pictures work well. You test your aesthetic out before you go and invest in the things that you need to display at a market. Also, there's the fee of the market. Obviously, organizer costs, all of that. So Instagram is a super nice place to start. And what I recommend is you stick with it until it is working well for you. And this is something that I feel like I need to say, is because I see a lot of accounts and a lot of people posting on Instagram consistently, because consistency isn't the only solution. You think if I'm doing it consistently, then it's going to work. But if you're doing the wrong thing repeatedly, that isn't going to work. So if you're posting reels, great, fantastic. But if your reels are getting like 50 to 100 views or like really low numbers, and you keep doing the same type of reel, I genuinely don't know, like respect, like that you have the motivation to keep doing that, but that is not going to work. So you need to be looking at your reels, analyzing them. If they're not performing well, it's not a case of consistency is the solution. Like consistency is another whole topic that I'll talk about in a minute. But what you want to be doing is looking and seeing which ones do well. So in the beginning, you want to be doing different types of content. So also on that note, different types of content, not only with reels, different types of content. So there's basically a funnel on Instagram. So if you've been watching my Instagram, you probably heard me talking about it, but you need to create different types of content that attract different types that nurture, and then different types that convert. So within that, some are reels, some are carousels, some are single posts, some are stories, some are DMs. So you need to be thinking strategically about that. But anyway, I'm not going to go into like all the details about how to actually use Instagram properly, but I have a whole course on that called InstaGold. I'll drop the link in the description. But my point is that you need to learn how to use that platform properly before you move on to the next. Because if you're not getting sales through Instagram, for example, if we're starting with that, it could be a case of you not having a clear understanding of your target audience, or not a clear understanding of your branding based on the target audience, or it could be your product pictures aren't good, could be your prices are wrong, could be a whole number of things. And then if you're like, oh, Instagram's not working, let me put them on Etsy. Oh, that's not working, let me put them on TikTok. That's not working, let me try Pinterest, my own website. But if you haven't nailed one of those channels and you've figured out all of the potential problems that there could be to nail that one, there's no point moving on to the next one. Because what's going to happen? You're wasting your energy and you're wasting your time, because you're spreading yourself way too thin across trying to learn all of these different platforms, because there is a learning curve with all of these different platforms. So there's another concept as well that might help you understand this, is the hierarchy of competence. So I've mentioned this in previous YouTube videos, but I think it's really important here as well to understand, is that when you're learning a new skill, say Instagram, for example, while we're on that topic, you're learning all the different ins and outs and nitty-gritty of it. So when you're learning any new skill, there's a hierarchy of competence. So it starts off with you being unconsciously incompetent. So what that means is you think it's all super easy, this is great, everything's amazing, it's going to be super easy for you, because you don't have a clue what you don't know yet. And this is the perfect place to start. We all start here. If we knew how hard it was going to be, we wouldn't start, right? So it's like a kid learning how to ride a bicycle. I talk about this in my masterclass. But basically, if you were scared of how you might fall and hurt yourself, you might not even begin. So in the beginning, this is great. So you're basically unaware of how difficult it's going to be. Then you become aware. The more you do it, the more you're aware that actually there's more to it than you thought. So you are now consciously incompetent. So you're aware that you suck a bit, but that's okay, because you're still working at getting better. Then you move up a level if you keep at it. And then you become consciously competent. So you have to focus on it, you have to work at it, but you understand how things work. Then when you're an expert, then you are unconsciously competent, where basically you do it in your sleep, it's super easy peasy. So the more you do something, the more you understand it and the more you perfect it. So this is basically what's going on for all of these different channels that you're trying to perfect. You're at a different level with with this hierarchy of competence. And you're gonna feel overwhelmed. You're gonna feel like you're not getting anywhere, because it isn't all just gonna magically work at the same time. So this is why focusing on one channel until you have mastered it and you're feeling like this is great, you're making sales through that channel, there's no point in moving on to the next one. So I hope that makes sense, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. I really, really hope this helps you guys. But I think this is a conversation that I've been having a lot, and I just wanted to share that with you guys here on YouTube. So see you in the next video.